Elizabeth here again, and it's a very big pleasure to have you back on our YouTube channel, and a very big shout out to everyone who has been watching our video, who has subscribed to our YouTube channel, and who has also passed one of their 2 cents on our previous videos. So today guys, we are going to be talking on a very important and interesting topic, which is all about decoding translation deadline. It is beyond the word count. So guys, I am very sure that you're going to enjoy this teaching, so let us dive deep into this presentation today. So we're talking about decoding translation deadline, which is beyond the word count. We are going to be looking at everything about translation deadline and word count and a lot more. So now let's explore the true complexity behind translation timelines. You know, a lot of us would want to travel out of the country and would want to process our documents, and on our portal, on our various websites, there are deadlines attached to this translation, when you need to submit and how. So now let us debunk the myth and how to plan for your project effectively. So myth 1, translation is just word for word. This is the first myth we are going to be treating, which is translation is just word for word. The meaning matter. So translation conveys meaning and not just a word. For every word you see in a translated copy, it has a meaning. So translation conveys meaning and it is not just word. So number 2 is the cultural adaptation. Slogan change to fit cultural context, like in China. Then number 3 is the creative rewriting, which requires additional time for nuance and relevance. Please make sure to go through this myth 1 over again. The meaning matters. Every word you see in any translated copy, it is not just word. And then for the cultural adaptation and the creative writing, let's move over to the next myth. Then for myth 2, translator translates thousands of words per day. Average output. So most translators produce about 2,000 to 3,000 words daily. Yes, this is what translators do, and this is how a life of a translator is. At least most translators produce 2,000 to 3,000 words daily. Then quality over speed. Accuracy and consistency take priority over volume. Yes, each translated copy has to be accurate, and the consistency is what we prioritize, and it is over the volume. So machine translation, post-editing boosts volume but needs careful review. Post-editing boosts volume but needs careful review. When you're using machine to translate, make sure you are reviewing this translation before you submit it to the right quarters. So now let's move over to myth 3. Okay, it is fact 1. Subject matter expertise impact timeline. So for specialized field, we've talked about this specified fields already in our previous video, but we're going to be coming back to it because of our new subscribers. We have the medical field, we have the legal, we have the technical, which their test requires deep knowledge. You know, you cannot just take up a medical translation without knowing their terminologies and the right words to use for their translation. Same thing for the legal. You need to be familiar with the words they use in courts. You know, as attorneys, you need to know the words they use. You need to be familiar with their terminology. Same thing with the technical. So for the research time, the complex topic demand thorough investigation and accuracy. Translators make a lot of research. You can also call translator researchers, because if they don't research, how are they going to be able to get your documents translated accurately? So they go through investigation. Like complex topics demand investigation and accuracy. For example is the medical manual. Use precise term like intramuscular carefully. You understand? So that is what we mean, that subject matter expertise impact timeline. Let's move over to the next one. Fact 2, which is all about file format and complexity matter. So simple format, the TXT files are quick and straightforward to translate. Yes, the TXT files are very quick. You know, it is in simple format. It's not going to give the translator any difficulty in finding it to translate. Then for the complex formats, PDFs and websites need extra extraction and reintegration. For the complex formats, PDF and websites. Then for desktop publishing, layouts and designs affect timelines and require skills. See, we have a lot. We at Novatia Translations, we have encountered at, let's say, these 3 levels of file format and the complexity matter. Yes, we get some files to our decks through the simple format, and our translators will be able to translate this translation seamlessly without any hitch. But for the complex format, in which these files comes in form of PDFs, our translator will need to extract these words one after the other for them to be able to translate these words accurately. And then for some that has layout and design, that is for transcripts, most especially people that are into the academics field, it requires skill. For fact 3, language pairs and influence turnaround. Language pairs and influence turnaround. For the common pairs, we have English to Spanish translators are widely available. English to Spanish translators are widely available. Then for the rare languages, we have BRICS or KEMA require more time to find experts. Yes, especially if it's a translation company that need to source for their translators. To these languages, these rare languages, it is very, very hard to find experts on these languages. Then for this time zone, coordinating global teams add to project duration. For the time zone, coordinating global teams add to project duration. What it means by global team, like Novatia Translation is a well-known brand for its services, right? But we do not do this translation ourselves. We have partners all over the world that help us with our translation. This is what it means by having global teams. Like in Russia, we can have a Russian translator that is not even in our country. So when we get a job that a Russian translator easily pass it across to our Russian translator, and he or she is going to get it done seamlessly. That way we've been able to meet up with the project duration. You get my point? So now let's move over to the next. Fact 4, which is all about the review and quiz question and answer, which are very, very essential. It is an essential part or essential step in any business. So number 1, editing and proofreading. Ensure accuracy and fluent language use. Then number 2 is client review. Always incorporate feedback from clients and necessary revision. Then number 3 is the quality assurance. Check terminologies and style with specialized tool. You can go online, get specialized tool, but make sure that the tool you are using to check for the quality assurance is up to standard. Okay, so let's move over to the next, which is optimizing translation timeline. This is our key takeaway, and this is going to bring us to the end of this presentation. So optimizing translation timeline. Number 1 is to plan ahead. Always plan ahead. Start your translation early in your project timeline. You see, a lot of clients to always request for rush service or express service. Why? Because they've not planned themselves ahead of time. So if you need your documents in 2 weeks time, make sure you've started your translator. That's about 14 days, right? Make sure you've started your translation maybe in a day time. In fact, it is not bad if your document is ready even before the timeline. It is a thing of joy when you have your documents ready before the said timeline, because your mind is going to be at rest. But when your translation is not ready or your document is not ready, you will be panicking, and this panicking would make you be mounting pressure on the translator. And once you are now mounting pressure on the translator will not be able to focus well on translating your own document accurately. So please make sure to always plan ahead and start your translation early. Then number 2 is to provide context. Share comprehensive source materials and style guide. Yes, a lot of people must have gotten on how their document should be translated, but they are going to hold on to it. They are not going to share it with the translator because they feel it is confidential. Yes, it is confidential, but for the translator to be able to give you the best of the best translation, you need to share your style guidelines with this translator to be able to give you just what you need to avoid rejection from the embassy, immigration, or anywhere. So please always provide your context. Then communication. This is number 3. Make sure to always communicate with your translator. Set expectation and discuss challenge openly. Always set your expectation and discuss your challenge openly. So this brings us to the end of this presentation, which is all about decoding translation timeline. Please always ensure to plan ahead, to provide your context and communicate with your translator. So drop one or two of your opinion in our comment section, or if you've had any experience concerning translation timeline and all of that, and let us hear your view, let us hear your experience, and we would be glad to provide one of our 2 cents on that as well. And then if this is your first time on our YouTube channel, make sure to like, subscribe and share this video, and also turn on your notification button to be the first person to get our notification once we upload a new video. Bye, and see you in our next video.